Hello everybody, here we are. I hope I'm live right now, and without any further delay, let's simply get going. And what we are gonna be focusing on, that's gonna be the Kubernetes part. So we will try to create a Kubernetes machine with the different account, of course. So let's see whether it actually succeeds or not, and on the basis of that thing, we'll be just simply going ahead. So let me first of all make sure that everything's up and running, and then we'll go from here on. So save and toggle this. Alrighty, this thing is done. I hope I'm gonna be audible and all, and everything's clear. Is that so or not? Alrighty, this thing is done. I hope I'm okay. Everything's clear. Coming back to this one, what are we gonna be doing right now? First of all, we'll log in here. So unstoppable the coder. Let's simply enter the password like this. So once the password is entered, let's click on sign in. So we'll be inside our virtual AWS machine. AWS account, not the machine. Okay, and talking about the bills and all, of course they are not gonna be visible over here, and it turns out the same. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna be mainly creating the EKS machine, but before that I need the user, the keys and all. I think I already have the keys if I'm not wrong, but let me try to create a key for this as well. So add MFA yourself. Okay, never mind. Let me go to the users here. Unstoppable the coder is the user, and over here administrator access, I am user change password access. So both the accesses are here, and security credentials, if I go here, I have a key, and this key is for the meet uploads. Okay, let me create one more key over here, and this is gonna be just the temporary one. Ignore the noise around me, just some work is going on. And this is gonna be for EKS keys, EKS key. Let me simply create the key, and once the key is created right now, let me just simply log in over here. So AWS configure, I think that was the command, configure, and it is gonna be asking for the key ID first of all, and the ID is this, ID in the sense the key, of course. Let me just simply enter, save. Then it needs the secret. Let me give it the secret, enter, save, and everything, and hopefully it's gonna be just getting everything done. Alrighty, let's see. AWS get what was the command? I forgotten the command, never mind. Coming back to this particular thing, how to switch between clusters. Okay, we can easily switch between clusters, so we can use context over here. So kindly create cluster name. Why are they making so much noise? Probably they're cleaning something or what. Okay, never mind. So kindly create cluster name is gonna be local cluster, and this way you can just simply create a cluster. Once the cluster is created, you can get the context. So you'll be getting all the contexts using this. Like you will be getting all the clusters that you have on your machine, online or offline. And kubectl config use context, you can just simply use one of the contexts. You can get the nodes. Config use context, and you can use the context like this as well. Fine, okay with this. Kubectl rename, you can rename the context, rename context, delete context. The context can actually be deleted as well. Pretty simple stuff, we don't really need to worry about it. Let's talk about EKS cluster over here, because that's the most important part. This thing we'll definitely be talking about in between. Okay, so install AWS CLI, we have kubectl, we have EKS CTL, we have AWS ESTC get caller identity. So let me see. AWS ESTC STS, I think that's the one. STS, yeah. I hope it's running. I'm not sure about the network. Yeah, it is well. So coming back to this one, AWS STS get caller identity. So this way I'm just simply getting the caller identity. That simply means it works. What is the next thing that I can do? The next thing that I can do is to just simply creating an EKS cluster. EKS update kube config region. We can AWS EKS update kube config. Region is this, and API source, my cluster name is this. So ultimately there can be many cases in the sense there can be a situation where you have multiple clusters on AWS. At that time you can just simply specify. Ultimately you can change your kube config, and once you run this update kube config command, that kube config command will be configuration will be changed. And what is the I mean over here. Cube is just the configuration. So if you go to cd and this dot cube, I think that's the one. If I just simply cat this, I don't need to cat this. I think I should have this dot cube somewhere. I forgotten exactly where I can get that. In that case, let me do one thing. Let me search for that. So grep, I'm gonna be filtering. Of course, I think I'm in the cd ls. Yeah, I'm in the root directory right now, and I'm gonna be looking for what dot cube, exactly where that is, right? So I'm gonna be filtering it. So grep, I'm gonna be filtering it like this, and what I want to filter dot cube, exactly where that is, and that too in the current directory, just like this. So let's see, I should be getting the result over here. It turns out it's gonna, okay, well, it is giving me the result, but at the end of the day it's gonna be taking a lot of time anyway. Yeah, like I'm running in the root directory, then of course it's gonna be taking a lot of time. So let me go to etc ls and let me run the same command, probably everywhere. Alrighty, well, permission is denied most of the time, but we have it inside hosts. Okay. Just a minute, let me see if I can find it somewhere. Permission denied, that's another case, but let me see. Let me switch to the sudo user first of all. cd, I mean, enter the password. Alright, I'm the root user right now, and if I run the same command, but before even that I'll have to go to the cd etc ls, running the same command in the sense grep ir cube folder, cube configuration I'm actually looking for, and everywhere here. So ultimately we have hosts. So let me find hosts here. So grep, and I think I'll cd hosts ls. Do we have cube here? Dot cube. Grep. Let's see. So host, I'm still getting that. And host is what? cd hosts. It is not a directory, cat hosts. I'm getting it like this. Well, this is not the right place. I don't even know where that cube config exists actually. That's interesting. Cube config, there is definitely a file. I have no idea exactly where that exists, but okay, we will figure it out. Let's make a Google search. Where does .cube file exists? So it exists directly in the root directory. Okay, let's see. cd, home directory, ls. So lsa. So this is where it exists. So the name of this home username in .cube, right? So let me have the path over here as well. I didn't really have the path saved in my notes. So ultimately the path is gonna be probably somewhere here, eksctl, when I'm working with that. Yeah, it's better to just simply have it here, or whenever I'm creating a cluster it needs to be somewhere here. Never mind, you can just simply keep it anywhere. /code, and that's actually gonna be cd .cube. This is the folder. Inside that you will have the remaining configuration. That's it. So cd .cube ls, we have this config, and this is the config file that actually gets changed. Anyway, I will not be showing this thing to you, but yeah, if you run that particular command, which command I'm talking about, if you run this command over here, let me just simply bring it inside this. So if you run this particular command, aws eks update cube config, Provide the region, provide the name of the cluster, the config will be updated. Having said that, you can even create a cluster. And EKS create a cluster, name is gonna be my cluster. Excuse me. Region is gonna be AP South 1. Node group is gonna be my nodes. Type is gonna be T3 small, and nodes are gonna be exactly 2 nodes I need. Control plane will be managed by AWS itself. And let's see if I run this command, will it work or not. So we need to have what? We need to have the name of the cluster. So EKS create cluster, we can just simply create the cluster like this. And when we are creating the cluster, so we need to make sure that the name is there. Region is there, exactly in which region we want to create it. Node group name, there should be node group name, there should be the group of the nodes that are gonna be created. And we need to have a node type, exactly what kind of nodes are gonna be used over here. So T3 small I'm gonna be using. And lastly, how many nodes I want. So it's sort of simple. So let's try to do that anyway. And get nodes right now. Come on here, how long will I suffer? Never mind. So EKS create cluster, we want to create a cluster. And what is gonna be the name of it? The name is gonna be EKS for testing cluster, because of course after that we'll be deleting it. So we'll have a testing cluster over here. And region, region is gonna be, I hope that's how it's mentioned, yeah, AP South 1. And then we'll have a node group name. Alrighty, node group name, just like this. And the node group name is gonna be my nodes, or just nodes over here, that doesn't really matter. Or name it testing nodes or my nodes, that doesn't really matter. So this is done. And what is the next thing that is remaining? What should be the type of the node? So node type, the type should be T3 small. And lastly, how many nodes do I want? So I want 2 nodes. Let's simply run this. And here we are. What is the problem first of all? It is just simply saying that EKS not found. Did you mean EOS? All these things. EKS CTL, come on. That should not be EKS, that should be EKS CTL. Home. CTL, let's simply run this. And what is the next problem? Node. Oh, by the way, that should be nodes. So, instead of having the things like this, I'm gonna be having it like this. Will it be working? Let's see. I don't think I have proper permission for that. So hope it will not fail. I have administrative access. That simply means it should be working. But let's see what's gonna be happening. Okay, so it is just simply gonna be creating this anyway. So this is how it's gonna be done. And once this is done, then we can just simply talk about the remaining things. Like we can talk about all the things that have been mentioned over here. So right now I'm creating the cluster using just a command line, and we can even configure proper command, like proper configuration for creating a cluster, and using that we can create a cluster. And API version EKSCTL IO VI alpha 5. So alpha 5 is being used over here. In version 1, alpha 4 was used for normal clusters. So if I show you this over here, VI alpha 4 was used. Almost kind.xk is IO. This thing is changing over here. Remaining things sort of are the same. Okay, so it's gonna be easy to remember the name as well, like API version as well. So EKSCTL IO given this, that's gonna be fine. Metadata EKS cluster region is gonna be API South. So we will have to mention everything inside the metadata. Auto mode config, this needs to be enabled for the future. This needs to be false for the future references. I am with IDC, that's gonna be true. Add-ons, these are the add-ons that I'm gonna be adding. Now these are not the things that I'm gonna be remembering. Rather, if I know them how they work, that's more than enough. Then I will have managed node groups here. It's raining around, I mean outside, so that could be background noise. And we'll have nodes over here. Instance type is gonna be T3 small. Desired capacity 2, minimum size 1, max size 2, I mean 5, volume 20. So it is sort of okay, but the thing is that there are more things. Let's ignore these things. We need these tags. Why do we need these tags? So that whenever the R2 scaling group is created, that group has these tags. And lastly, I am with add-on policies, auto scaler is gonna be true, so that the machine, the EKS cluster that we actually create, that should be auto scalable as well. So all these things are gonna be configured. And lastly, if you wanna update the config, so of course using this you can update the config. This is only needed when you have more than one clusters on AWS. There is something called storage class as well, and when it comes to storage class, this is mainly needed, especially when you are doing what? When do we need a storage class? We need the storage class when we actually want to store or some values there, right? If I'm not wrong. So you can create a storage class. So create a cluster F cluster ML. That's great. Kubectl apply F storage class. We need the storage class because when we are actually deploying something on AWS, there needs to be some kind of storage. Okay, and this time API version is gonna be, this is the version for the storage class. Storage class is the name. Metadata is gonna be GP3. There is GP2 as well. There is GP3 as well. GP3 is the modern one, so we are gonna be using this. Of course, for using this, you will have to enable it for sure. And provisioner is gonna be EBS CSI AWS.com. How do I know all these things? Searched, Googled a little bit, took the help of ChatGPT, and finally got the configuration. Parameters tabbed, then volume bindings. Wait for the first consumer. That simply means it says that when you are using this particular storage, so make sure that there is someone, there is a consumer to use this particular storage. Only then the storage will be created. Talking about the storage, there are two types of storage if I'm not wrong. There is this storage, I mean storage provided by KTH, ultimately Kubernetes, and there is the storage that is the standard one. So we will be talking about both of them. Allow volume expansion, true, that's great. EKS create a cluster F, that's fine. Kubectl apply storage ML, that's fine. Kubectl get SC, will be getting the storage. We can definitely create the storages and all. EKS CTL cluster region, and ultimately I talked about this thing many times, so let me just get rid of this from here. Done. Talking about the permissions, so these are the permissions that you usually need, but as we have given it the administrative access, so I think it's gonna be for all, so we don't really need to worry about it. EKS full access custom, this could be problematic when you are actually creating I think, okay, it's still waiting for the collection. So whenever you are creating whenever EKS clusters are getting created, this permission needs to be set. In my case, I'm not sure I have set this, so probably I'm gonna be getting the error if I'm not wrong. If we get, that's great. If you don't get, then okay, no need to worry about it. And then kubectl config view, we are gonna be getting the configuration, and EKS CTL delete the cluster. We will be able to delete the cluster as well. Okay, let's not talk worry about that much. The most important thing is this over here, that is storage thing. I am gonna be digging deeper into it. This is nothing but kind of a volume. So whenever your node gets created, ultimately if you are creating a cluster machine, so ultimately a node is getting created that is running the node, worker, right? So node in the sense a virtual machine is getting created. Inside that particular virtual machine only these nodes are gonna be running. So yeah, we will be going through it, but the thing is that right now we can't go through it. It's still getting created, and I'm not even sure that it's gonna be completely it's gonna be created successfully, because I haven't given it some permissions and all, so probably it may throw the error as well. Talking about the services, so we have three types of services over here: node port, load balancer, and cluster IPs. No need to worry about them. We will be going through them. Ultimately, what is node port is used? What node port is used for? If you actually want to export your app that is running inside a pod, of course inside the container, if you want to export it, if you want to expose that particular app that is running to the node directly, so at that time node port is used, and a load balancer is used for exposing your app that is running to the outer world. Cluster IP is used for exposing the app in the internal world. So there are three things: exposing the app directly to the node, first thing; exposing the app to the other applications running, cluster IP is going to be used over there; exposing the app to the outside world externally, that's load balancer service is going to be used there. How it's going to be used, we will be talking about that, no need to worry about it. Namespaces, we have already talked about it, probably we will be just going through it a little more, but we know exactly how it works. And creating ingress manually, how ingress is manually created, we did it earlier, we may be doing it again. and that's okay, it can easily be created, so no need to worry about this. So these are the things that we have to go through, and not only this, this is just the starting, of course. Over here, after this particular section, uh, we are gonna be talking about the volumes over here. So we know about we will be using ingress, config maps, secrets, all these things. Lastly, the most a secret is not really a big problem. We will have two types of secret. Look, we will have secret, we will have config maps. They are mainly for the environment variables. We'll have ingress, of course. It will be using ingress controller. So we'll be talking about all these things. And lastly, we have volumes. This is one of the most important part over here. Volumes, there are two types of volumes actually. There is empty dir, there is persistent volume. What is the use of empty dir? If you suppose if two containers are running inside a pod, so if you want to share the state between those two containers, or if there are more containers among those containers, at that time empty dir is used. Talking about this persistent volume, so this persistent volume is mainly used for storing the values ultimately. So if you want to store, suppose it is mainly used when you are hosting your own database. So if you are hosting your own database on the Kubernetes cluster, at that time you need to know about persistent volume. Why? Because whenever you are creating a suppose you are running your self-hosted database on the Kubernetes cluster, so it needs to save its kind of backup somewhere, right? For that thing, you are gonna be creating this persistent volume on AWS, and that is called GP3. So over there, your backup will be stored, so that if for some reason your machine crashes, your pod stops, or your database crashes, so at that time, the next time when the database comes, goes online again, it should be able to just simply get the data back from the from the backup, and then it should be just simply able to do the job. And for that particular thing, we need the persistent storage and all, how it works. Even I made this whole diagram the last time when I worked with this. Things are easy, don't worry about all these things. We are gonna be talking about all these things. Even it's been quite some time, right? I talked about all these things, then took a break around of 4 to 5 days, and then came back and started discussing the things and all. But okay, that's good. We will be talking about all these things, and once these things are talked about once more, that simply means the revision is gonna be done. Then we will be going through some other things. So this is how the plan is right now, and it is still in the process. Crazy. Well, right now don't really have any other way apart from this particular thing. What else am I gonna be doing here? Then we are gonna be talking about auto scaling and all, and we even have all the steps. So creating a cluster, policy, RBAC, sample app, matrix, HPA, test. Honestly, we have everything written in the best way possible. We have to just simply implement that. So deploying something is not really a big deal. We can easily get it done thanks to my notes, thanks to me for creating such a note. And then Helm is there, better stack, of course, I started working on. So overall, Kubernetes section is not even that much hard. We can easily go through it. Okay. As for right now, of course, it's not really possible because it is still getting created. So let it get created. We will be working on it tomorrow. So what are we gonna be doing right now? How long has it been anyway? It's been 23 minutes. So it's gonna be taking time because we are creating it online. So of course it does take some time. So in that case, let me talk about the commands of the Linux that I was mainly supposed to be talking about. We have these to-dos here. I was supposed to be talking about the Kubernetes section for 2 hours around. It's already been around for 1 hour and 40 minutes. So let's okay, consider it done right now. Then the second thing is that we were supposed to be talking about Linux commands, and hopefully it's gonna be done today, because if it is not done, then I'm gonna be in trouble, honestly. So let's get this particular thing done. And for that particular thing, let it be created. I'm gonna be stopping Docker over here. So let me just simply quit the Docker, because for this I'm gonna be running the virtual machines, and for running the virtual machines I will have to stop KVM, and Docker uses KVM, and that is why. By the way, how can I remove the KVM? Sudo mod probe remove. I think that's probe. Probably this is the command, KVM AMD. Alrighty, this is done. Right now I should be able to turn on the machine. Let me try to do that. It will be just simply keep running in the background. We'll see when it's done. Right now, let me go to this desktop here. Vagrant, I'm reusing Vagrant over here for just simply spinning up the virtual machines and all. Now, how Vagrant works and all, you can know more about it. But you may be able to get the idea exactly what is the use of Vagrant here. So using Vagrant, we can just simply spin up the virtual machines. ls, and this is the Vagrant file that I have. If I just simply run Vagrant up, it is gonna be running CentOS virtual machine. And wait for a while. It will start running CentOS virtual machine. Just give me a second. Let it get created. I'll be right back. Alright everybody, let's continue from here on. And this is sort of gonna be Linux class as well. But never mind, we will change the title too. Once this is done, because the another thing will take some time. Or oh, has it been created or not? It's been created anyway. So if I actually come here, by the way, I'm gonna be talking about this tomorrow now. Enough for today, but I can definitely check the cluster running. So k get nodes. So I have these two nodes running right now. They have been given by the AWS side. And if I actually come back here and check this thing out, so EKS actually. So ultimately, what is gonna be happening here? Clusters. I should have a cluster ready already. Refresh it. It turns out I don't have a cluster ready here. Why? No, I do have a cluster. Your account is not a member of organization. Forget about this. Okay, the Mumbai section here. Over here, I will have the cluster ready. So this is the cluster that is running testing cluster. Of course, this is the name. And as this cluster got created, so if I go to the home page right now, and once in the home page, Kubernetes service, I am S3. Let me go to the EC2 machine. Let me search EC2 over here. And in this particular section, I should be getting some other things. Hopefully the auto scaling group got created. I don't know whether it got created or not. So let me click on this. Yeah, we do have auto scaling group. And even if we didn't configure everything got configured. Wow, that's amazing, yeah. Everything got configured automatically by the AWS. So even if you are not mentioning the things, they're actually being configured. Wow, I mean, that's amazing. So AWS automatically added these tags over here. So usually we need these tags. If I actually show you this thing right now. So auto scaling group, let me go here. RABC, policy, sample, matrix, SPA, test. So let me click on this cluster thing. And usually we need these two tags. So okay, it is enabled through EKS cluster on. If I actually go here directly right now, so we already have enabled through and testing cluster on. So amazing job. I never expected this thing to happen, but yeah, it got automatically done. So what all do we need to do? This is done. I am with auto scaler must already be true if I'm not wrong. So how can I check that? I don't know, but I think most of the things are already configured by AWS. I don't even need to configure these many things. And even for knowing more about it, I will have to know more about DevOps and all. Overall, there is nothing actually here, so it's better to just simply learn more things about DevOps and just get the things done. As for right now, what am I gonna be doing? I'm gonna be just simply stopping it. We will be working on this particular part tomorrow. So EKS, CTL, delete cluster, and the name of the cluster is what? The name of the cluster is testing cluster. It will automatically delete the cluster from the AWS side. So yeah, let it work in the background. And what our main focus is gonna be on this particular section. So vagrant SSH, and here we are inside the virtual machine ls. Let me switch to the root user directly, and once I have switched to the root user, let's start talking about the commands. What time is it? 6:09, right? 6:09. Alrighty, let's work on it for half an hour more, and then let's see what's gonna be happening. So as for these Linux commands, we'll be just simply talking about it for half an hour more, and hopefully by that time it will be 1 hour, yeah, and then I'll call it. So what am I gonna be doing here? That the commands, right? Linux commands. Don't worry about this. Will be discussed tomorrow. As for the commands, my world, software, me, DevOps. Linux were the commands. Even in the Git section, I learned a few commands over here, and these are some of the commands that I wanted to talk about. So inside git config, you just simply all the configuration related to the git that is stored, we will be just going through it. Using git log online, you can get the logs in one line, and show commit id. So ultimately, if you want to show, if you want to get the changes that you made, so you can just simply say git show and commit id, and the changes are gonna be there. You can just simply create a new branch like this. You can even list all the branches. So git branch a will be just simply listing all the branches. So these are some of the commands that I just simply I just came to know about. So I'm gonna be talking about them, exactly how they work and all. Basic things, not everyone knows the basic things. So I'm gonna be talking about this. You can just simply switch as well, and you can use directly git remove and git move to just simply remove or move the file. What is the benefit is that you will not have to add them manually. So like if you make any changes, then you will have to add them, then you will have to commit them. So this adding section thing you will not have to worry about if you just do this. By the way, we will be doing it in action. Then of course you can push it to the origin. Even you can push all the branches that you have. So if you say git push all origin, so ultimately all the branches are going to be pushed up in one go. So this is something that we are going to be talking about sooner or later. But as for right now, we have to talk about the Linux commands. Yesterday we talked till this particular point, and today we'll just simply continue from here on. So we have something called free. Free M simply gives us the memory utilization. DFH gives us the hardware partition information, and echo just simply echoes that ultimately for some this thing. Date, if you just simply run the date, you are gonna be getting the information about the date. So like this is the information about the date. Great. What is the next thing that I can do? And over here I am getting 78 G because ultimately this virtual machine has been created on that particular SDA only, and because of that thing it is giving me the info of that SDA. I think this is so, if I'm not wrong, but let's see. Alrighty, so this particular thing is done. What is the next thing that we have to talk about? Echo is pretty simple. You can just simply echo good morning over here. It will be just simply printing. So if you just simply say echo hi there, it's just simply gonna be printing. So there's nothing hard in there. Okay. By the way, the few good commands that we learned yesterday, that were they were these ones. First of all, we have shed over here. Sed over here. This is used for replacing globally. You can just simply mention this G tag over here. This will be replacing Corona with COVID-19 globally, and it will be replacing all these things in this particular file. Same we are doing the over here, but the thing is that we have added this -i that simply means it makes the real changes. It gives you the preview section. We've talked about this, and not only that, when it comes to suppose there are columns. Columns have been made by separating the lines and all. So at that time you can just simply get the particular column. So suppose you are gonna be filtering based on this column, and you are gonna be getting the first column from this particular file. Same you are doing over here. You are filtering based on column over here, and you are gonna be getting the first column from this particular file. And overall things are fine. You are gonna be getting the tail, header, more and less. They are just simply used for giving you the read reader editor, that will be just for the reading. And grep you have for filtering the things. We have normal commands over here, host and all these things, mkdir, touch, move, remove, all these things. I mean, pretty. We have link over here, so lnas, so it will be just responsible for creating the soft link. So if you just simply specify the path over here and just give the name for that particular soft link, so the link will be created, and even you can unlink it, you can delete it, completely up to you. So these are the things that you can actually accomplish. These are the commands that we have already talked about, so we'll not be talking about now, but yeah, these are the things that we have covered. Let's continue. In CentOS, ultimately in what RPM based virtual machines, we have yum to install. So if you want to install something, so you will have to use yum. And in Debian based virtual machines or distros, we use apt, we use we use apt over there. So yum install vim. By the way, we can just simply install vim, and yes, ultimately what it is doing, that whatever information you get while installing vim, say yes for all, and once you get the information, you have to save all those things inside null. I mean, dev null means inside a dev directory you have null, and that simply means it will be stored nowhere. Null means nowhere. So you are just for the thing is that once you are just simply saying that all this result, whenever I run this particular command, so I will be getting some logs here. Those logs should be saved here inside null folder. Null folder in itself contains nothing. So if you save something inside that, still there will be nothing. So inside nothing you cannot store anything. So ultimately, the benefit of running this command is that you will not be seeing the logs. Okay, and even if you are saying that all the logs are gonna be saved in this particular file, that is a null file. Null means that contains nothing, that cannot contain anything. So ultimately, those logs are gonna be gone. The plus point is that you will not be shown any logs. This way you won't be seeing the logs getting printed while installing the things and all. That's pretty simple. So if you go to cat db log, whatever content you save inside the dev null, that is not available, simply that is null. And similarly we have cat dev temp info. So if we save some information from here, from dev null to this particular file, this is gonna be empty. So this is system txt will have this system sysinfo.txt will have nothing, because we have saved the null info over there. Pretty simple. I mean this is really understandable, right? But if the command is wrong, you will get a wrong error message logged. To avoid getting logs, you can use 1, and 1 is by default in standard output, and 2 is for the errors. So 2 is for the errors, and end can be for both. Pretty simple. I mean, I will be talking about it, don't worry. It's not like I'm just simply gonna be discussing verbally over here. I will go through them. Then you have wc for counting the words, ultimately for counting the lines. So I don't know the full form of this, probably this could be count related something. So wc, and this will be just simply counting the lines. So it will be counting the number of lines over here. wc, and all the numbers of lines are gonna be stored over here, or wcl, and this. So ultimately this, whether you use this particular sign or not, that doesn't really matter, it will be storing it there. ls, you will be getting all the lists, and then you are counting. So ultimately it will give you the number of lines over here, counts the number of lines here as well, counts the number of line here as well. Okay, that's great. So ls grep host, you are gonna be looking for the host, gives the list of all the files that start with host. That's right. Tail where log message, you are gonna be getting all the last 10 messages, last 10 lines from this messages file, and then you are simply searching for CentOS. You are getting all the 50 lines, and then you are searching for vagrant. Free m, you are just simply getting the memory information, and you are actually just simply filtering it based on mem over here. ls, I mean these are just normal commands, literally normal ones. If you know the basics, it will make sense exactly what am I doing over here. Similarly, you are listing things, and then you are getting the last 10 files. You are listing the things, you are getting the header. Find, you are finding host, I mean just a minute. Yeah, so ultimately first of all you have to give it the path, and the second thing is that you have to give it the thing that you want to find. So suppose find etc, inside etc I want to find everything that starts with host. or just like this. It's completely up to you, but both the things are gonna be working. Find dir files that start with host inside etc. This will work. Yum install and mlocate and update db run it before running locate, and locate host, it will be just simply locating the host. And congratulations, we have gone through it. Is there something that is super hard? Not really. I mean, some basic things are here only. So let's discuss them briefly, really quickly. So we have talked about uptime, this, and override append, they were talked about yesterday. So we not gonna be talking about this. Utilization, we have already gone through this. Yum install, you can just simply install, got it. Dev null. By the way, what is the use of this dev null? If you actually go here, ls, so inside dev, you have null folder here. So do we have null here? Probably you do not even have that. Let me filter it. So grep, I'm gonna be filtering null in the current directory. Of course, I'll have to say r null in the current directory, and it turns out we don't really have that. ls, I'm gonna be filtering based on null. So yeah, we do have null over here. It turns out to be here, but the thing is that where that is. We have it here, but I'm not able to see. This is the null over here anyway. And if you cd null, well, null is what? Null is actually C. C stands for what here? What does C stand for here? What does C stands for in listing the files? C format, vertical list in columns. Just a minute, I get a copy this thing from here, because I do wanna know exactly what does this C mean. D means directory, simple hyphen means file, L means link, but what does this C mean? What does C mean here? This is the Linux file permission. You are saying this, let's break it down. C means the first letter tells the file type. Okay, got it. Character device file. So this is the character device file. Great. So regular file, directory we have, symbolic links we have, character device we have, block device we have. So these are the types that we get anyway. So let me just simply copy it from here. Take a screenshot would be better. And paste it somewhere here. So this is how I have the things. And once this is done, what is a character device? A character device is a special file that reads, writes data byte by byte. What is a byte? 8 bits is equals to 1 byte. Stream. So reads or write data byte by byte, and not in blocks like disks. So it just simply reads byte by byte. That simply means 1 byte at a time. Okay. Dev null, the file you are dev null is a character device behavior. Anything you write disappears. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So anything you write to this particular thing, this particular file, that is simply gonna be disappearing. And anything you read gives nothing. EOF. So you can, if you save that output is this carded. And what are 1 3 over here? 1 3. Yeah, okay. So major number 1 identifies the driver, minor number 3 identifies the specific device. Okay, fine. So see, character device, we have some of the permissions over here. Simple understanding, think of it like a dev null black hole. Wow. See, this is a device, not a normal file. Got it? So whatever you give to black hole, that will be converted to nothing. and that's what happens over here as well. So okay, pretty interesting thing. This is done as well. So suppose I'm installing something. By the way, I'm on CentOS, so I can just simply suppose I'm installing yum, not yum. I'm installing Vim using m. So if I just install like this, I'm getting these commands. What I'm getting these logs over here, right? And if I don't want to get the logs, so I'm gonna be just simply saving it to etc, not really etc, dev/null. And right now I'm not really gonna be getting anything. And once this completes, that simply means it has been installed. So of course we'll have to wait for a while. And it turns out that failed to download metadata. What there is a thing here that if you actually have a loop over here, if there's any error, we got the message interrupted by signal. So if I just simply run this one more, it is running again. If there's any error, we get to know about this particular, I mean that error gets logged. And if we don't even want that particular error, I will even show you that exactly how you can do it. But for now, let's simply wait for it to be installed, and hopefully it's gonna be installed very soon. Well, I think it's gonna be taking a lot of time. Can't really do anything. Let me just simply stop it. And if there's any error, like the last time there was an error, so you got the error, like this particular error was mentioned here. And if you don't want the error, by default 1 is here. I mean by default it means 1 and this. I hope I'm right. Yeah. So 1 means if it is simply refers to the standard result. So if you are getting a standard result, that will not be logged. And if you are getting errors are gonna be logged. If you don't want errors to be logged, so you should use 2 over here. 2 means now when this particular command is running, and even if there are errors, that will not be logged. And if you wanna, but standard ones are gonna be logged. So if I just simply show it like this, so you can see that standard logs have been written over here, right? But if I say 1, so standard logs will not be written. So 1 means standard logs will be hidden. So like right now standard logs are hidden. 2 means error is going to be hidden. Standard logs will not be hidden. So we are getting the standard logs over here. And you can use and over here before this greater than sign. You can use and. That simply means your standard logs are also gonna be hidden, and your errors are also gonna be hidden. So even if you just simply keep running again and again, that doesn't really matter. You will not be getting anything outside. Okay, and you already know whatever you keep inside this, that simply gets converted to null. And this is what even has been mentioned over here. And then we have WC over here. So ls, let me go to the root directory. Actually, just a minute, give me a second. Hang on for a while. Alrighty, let's continue anyway. So thank God for closing the door. Okay, here we are. So suppose inside this, don't we have anything? We have this anaconda. We have to count the number of lines that it has. So I can just simply say wc count the number of lines. And what is the file name? The file name is anaconda. Let's simply run this. It is just simply giving me that there are 96 lines over here. So this particular command is just simply used for counting the number of lines. And you can use it anywhere. Now I'm just simply saying that bro, ls, I got these files, so ls, and count the number of lines everywhere. I hope so. Even you can count the number of lines in the current directory, right? So let me see, count the number of lines in the everywhere. So yeah, it does give me the information, like in this particular file there are 96 lines, in this particular file there are 69 lines. Inside test.dir there are, I mean of course there's 0 line inside test.dir, but inside that because that is the directory, so I can even look for that inside a directory. So let me add r over here. So well, it doesn't really work in that case. Let me add a small r here. It doesn't really work for directory, it doesn't work, but for the files it will be giving the number of lines. In total there are 165 lines. So even this particular command you can run over here. That's amazing. Yeah, got to learn something new as well. This will just simply keep guessing the things. You will be getting even new commands. So not only that, you can even save it somewhere. So what you are doing, that over here you are counting the, well, that's you are specifying the path over here, that okay, I'm gonna be counting everywhere. You can even say that I'm gonna be counting like this. So ultimately everything will come to this particular WSL command, and when that particular thing comes, files or directories, whatever, they'll be counted. Let me write this. And by the way, this less than can only be used for a particular file. So either I write WSL and the file that I want to count the number of line of, so I'm gonna be getting like this, and I can do it like this as well. I can use this less than mark over here. So it just simply says that okay, we have to count the number of line. This is the file, so the content will be coming from this to this. So from the left to right the command is gonna be coming, sorry, from right to left the command will be coming. If you just simply run this, you are gonna be getting the result. There's only one difference, and that is when you are actually mentioning when you are not using this less than, at that time you are getting the name of the file. When you are mentioning this less than, you are just simply getting 96 over here. There's a little difference in the result, but overall things are same. By the way, you can even look for the host, exactly where the host is. So let me go to the root directory, lso root directory actually, and if I want to see where the host is, so I'm gonna be just simply saying that okay, ls grep and host, find the host wherever that is. It turns out the host is nowhere, so let me add it for the directories as well, and now it's gonna be telling me exactly where the host is. So wherever it found the host, it is just simply giving me the path of all the files, and unfortunately there are many. So let me go to etc first of all, quit it, cd, probably let me go to inside etc, and over here if I say lsl and find wherever the host is, it is able to find that okay, there is host name, there are hosts, there is this, these are the folders, no, these are actually the files, because there is just hyphen over here in the beginning. So these are the files, and yeah, you got that. Pretty simple. Where log messages, it just simply gives you all the messages, all the log messages that your machine logged while just simply powering on. And tail free, I mean, these things are pretty simple, you can just simply understand. Let's talk about this thing. Like if I want to look for the host, so I can use this find command as well. So find, what do I want to find? First of all, what should be the directory? So that should be the current directory. What I want to find host. So in the current directory, it does give me wherever it finds. Well, not really. It thinks that this is the root directory. I think that's the reason. It's gonna be it's giving me this result. I should be saying that in the current directory like this. Nope, it doesn't really make any difference. Okay, so let me say that inside etc, it is still giving me the same. So ultimately inside this etc, I have this these many times. Understood. So do I have host somewhere? But it is not able to give me the host. So now it is giving me the host wherever it is finding the host. So host config. So ultimately everything that starts with host, it just simply gives me that. It's better to just simply mention the name over here. So that's gonna be like this. And if I mention host, then I'm gonna be getting everything that starts, I mean that has the host. By the way, nothing has the host, we are not getting anything. Host and everything. So of course I have to wrap it inside of these marks here. And if I run this, I'm getting everything that starts with host. So this is how it just simply works. And I can even make sure that you have to find in the current directory. So it is still giving me the right result. So yeah, this is how you can just simply go ahead with the things. And yum install mlocate. Mlocate will do what? I don't know. Let me just simply install this. So m install locate, mlocate, not locate. That should be mlocate. Yes. Let's wait for a while. Let it be installed. And this is installed. If I run locate right now, no pattern matches. Locate host. Okay, this is also used for locating the host, right? So it is gonna be giving me everything that contains the host. Is that so? I mean wherever the host is, and sort of right. But first of all, let me run update db over here so that it updates that. And right now if I run locate host, it's gonna be giving me this information. So ultimately wherever it found host, it's just giving me the information. Got it? Well, that was crazy, yeah. Crazy alarm anyway. Why is this so? I don't know. I mean, everything is already stopped. Still, I'm getting it like this. Okay, let me make it. Okay, fine. Ignore the voice around me. I mean, sound noise around me. Can't really do anything. Work is going on, and I have no right to say anything here. Okay, so this particular thing is done. We have talked about host as well. Well, I mean locate as well. Don't really think it's going to be used because grep works the best, and then we have find over here. The thing behind learning, the reason behind learning these commands is that whenever I'm gonna be getting it being used somewhere, so at that time I should be able to understand exactly what they do. So these are just the normal commands. Let me have a look over here. So this is gonna be sort of related to the user. So yeah, user related info. So I'm gonna be creating another file for this. So we have common commands, and just below this slash not code actually slash s2 user commands. I mean user related commands are actually. So you should be able to understand, right? Let me just simply give it the color as well, and gonna be keeping it inside this. Let's see how it's gonna be going on. So talking about these user commands, so first of all, sudo I root user. If you wanna switch to the root user, you have to run this particular command. Cat is etc password, you will be getting the user information, and here you are gonna be getting the username. X shows that your password has been saved. So X is nothing but a link to shadow file that holds the password encrypted. So because once you create your username, you will be creating the password for that particular user as well, and that information it just simply stores. User ID we have over here. The first one is the user ID, second one is the group ID, third is the comment. Home dir we get, home directory, and login shell we get. So this is how it just simply keeps going on. So let me even run this thing so that it gets clearer. So cd home directory, I mean root directory over here, and if I run if I go to etc right now, here we have something called shadow. This is where the password gets saved. So what is this shadow actually? LA, and I'm gonna be grabbing shadow. Excuse me. So this shadow is what? Empty. That simply means it doesn't have first of all any permissions, but it is actually a file. So if I cat shadow, so we are getting the password. Seriously, yeah, I'm suffering from sneeze. Never mind. But yeah, shadow contains these types of things. Ultimately, sort of passwords are stored here. Okay, but never mind. Let me just simply clear it. And once this is cleared, then I can actually cat password over here, because inside this we have the password, and it just simply gives me the user information. User information in the sense, let me filter it as well. So header, and I'm gonna be getting the first line of the current directory. Password. So this is the first line that I got. So first one is the, what is the first thing? The first thing is the username. So this is the username. Second thing is the link to the shadow file that contains the password, encrypted password. Then we have the user ID. Then we have the group ID. Then we have the user, what is the next thing? Then we have the message, if I'm not wrong. So group ID is done. Then we have comment. So this is sort of a comment over here. And then we have the root directory. We have the home directory ultimately. And then we have the login shell. So these are the things you should be having some idea like exactly what they are and all. It's not like being expert in them, but at least should have the idea. Like these types of things do exist. So we have gone through them, and link we have gone through it. Background inside etc password, normal user, we are gonna be getting it anyway. And root user, normal user, and system user. There are three types of users. There are root users. Sudo I, you can run this particular command to switch to the root users. There are normal users that you create them, and there are system users that are created by the system, that are just simply used by the system. Okay. So by the way, cats etc group information, if you wanna get that, just a minute. What time is it? It's already been 1 hour and 3 minutes. And by the way, let me just simply go through it really quick. We will be diving deeper into it tomorrow. I mean, I'm not gonna be giving it a lot of time. Just half an hour in a day should be enough. And because the commands are such a things that if you just simply learn them once, that doesn't mean that you actually know them, because very soon, sooner or later, you will forget them. So it's better to just simply learn them slowly, one by one. I mean, Learning them once is okay, but revising them one by one, day by day, so that you keep going through them, I mean, once now and then, and they are gonna be in your mind sooner or later. So by the way, you can just simply check all the groups that you have created, and not only that, group name X, ultimately inside the group you get this information. So first of all, you get the, we will be talking about it. You can even find wherever the vagrant is. So this grep we have already talked about it enough. ID vagrant will be giving you the information about the user add, you can just simply add again. This is only applied, this applies to CentOS, and if you are on Ubuntu Linux machine, so you will have to use add user. So this command changes. So a user add for the CentOS, add user for Ubuntu. Tail, we have already talked about this. ID just simply gives me the information about the user that I create. Group add, groups is simply created. User mod, you can what is this? Secondary group and primary group. AG, DevOps, Unstoppable. I think this is mainly used for assigning the user to a particular group. So ultimately, when you want to, you created a group, right? And G secondary group and small g primary group. So what you are actually doing over here, that this is the group that you created and you want to assign this group to this particular user. So if you are saying capital G over here, so that is the secondary group. If you make it a small g, that will be primary group. Pretty simple. We will be going through it and we will be seeing it in action, but tomorrow. Grep DevOps, simply searches DevOps inside etc group. Pretty simple. Vim etc group, it just simply edits that. You can directly edit it. ID AWS simply gives you the information. Password Unstoppable, you can even set the password of the particular user that you create, and the job is done. You can switch the user like this. So SU stands for switching, so you can switch the user. Who am I? We already know. Exit, we can log out. Last login info. So when we run this last command, so we are gonna be getting the login info. Okay, who will just simply gives us exactly who we are. ls off, it just simply lists open files. So when you run this particular command ls off, so list open files, and user is gonna be vagrant. So in vagrant user, what are the open files? Just simply list them. It will be just simply listing all the files. So list all open files by this particular user. sudo I, we already know. We can delete that. So user delete AWS, user delete VIP. It when you add R over here, it deletes recursively. That simply means home directory is also gonna be deleted. And group del DevOps, we can even delete the group, and that's it. So ultimately what we did over here, we created a user, we created a group, we even assigned the password, we deleted the user, we deleted the group, we assigned the group to the user as a primary group or as a secondary group. These are the things we will be talking about them and going through them. And then we are going to be talking about the permissions. So you must have heard about chmod. A file can have permissions, and there are three types of things in a file: for a root user, for a normal, for a user, for a group, and for others. User in the sense who is the user of, who is the creator, who is the user of that particular file, and group in the sense user, if you created that file, so you are the user. Group in the sense there can be many people in that particular group. So if you give some permission to the group, so all the people who are in the group, they will be only able to do those types of things. Others in the sense anybody can do that. So we will be talking about it. We will be talking about this chmod, and even there is a numbering system as well. Like you can just simply set the permission like this, or you can set the permission with the help of the numbers. We can be talking about we will be talking about both. And lastly, in case you made a mistake, percentage will, what is this? vi sudo. Okay, there is something called this vi sudo. This is mainly used for changing the information of the sudo. We will be talking about this anyway. And etc sudo words, and check if you can add a username directly here. By the way, here what we are actually doing, suppose you created a user, right? And you, whenever you are using root commands over there, root users commands over there, so at that time you will not be allowed, or you will be asked to enter your password. To make sure that you are not prompted to enter your password, you can just simply configure these things. We will be talking about it. And then we have package management, and for package management, in CentOS you use something called RPM. In the Debian based distros like Ubuntu, we use dpkg over there. And this is all about package management over here, exactly how you manage the packages, how you just simply install the packages, how you list the packages, how you install the packages using curl or wget. We are going to be talking about all these things. And package management, literally package management tools. And um, when it comes to package management tools, so these are the tools for the RPM based distros. Like you will be using yum over there, you can use DNF over there. So this is mainly for RPM based distros. And apart from this particular thing, we can get all the repos that we have. We will be talking about it anyway. And then systemctl, exactly, these are the commands that are gonna be, suppose you install the package, right? You ran that. Now you can just simply check the status of that. You can restart that, you can reload that, you can do these types of things. Even you can make sure that is active. You can set this active is enabled HTTP. So what will this do? Whenever your server starts, whenever your device starts, suppose terminal starts, this HTTP service will be running by default. So like there is something called R2 start, right? So whenever you turn on your laptop, so there is a setting that you get, R2 start setting. Like whenever the laptop starts, suppose virtual VS Code, it should be started automatically. So these types of things you can get them done using commands. And talking about the processes, so we can just simply check all the processes, we can kill the processes, and ultimately we are going to be getting these things done as well. And then we have something called tar. This is mainly used for compressing the files and uncompressing the files. So you can compress them in tar format, or you can use something called zip and unzip, and you can compress them into zip format. So we will be seeing these things. By the way, we have done it quite a lot in GUI, graphical user interface, like how to compress and uncompress. We'll be getting all these things done in the terminal, exactly how we can get all these things done. And then these are some of the Ubuntu commands. Mainly in the Ubuntu commands, we use dpkg over here. And when it comes to the user, so we use add user over here, we don't use user add. So these are some of the differences that we are going to be talking about. In this way we are going to be ending it. So right now we just had a quick overview. In CentOS we use yum, here we use apt. So we are going to be talking about all these things, and this is how things are going to be done. Alrighty, so these are the things that are still left. It doesn't mean that we are not going to be talking about them. We will be, but it's going to be happening slowly. No need to worry about it. Overall, we have the idea exactly how they work. And now it's all about how well you practice them, so that you are going to be able to remember them for longer period of times. And that is why not covering everything at once. Well, we even just had a quick look. That simply means we understand how it works and all. Alrighty, then that was it. Now I'm going to be learning more, and then I'm going to be sharing more information and all. As for right now, let's simply call it. This was the plan anyway. Forget about this 2 hours. It's not really possible to give 2 hours in a day. Going through that in a day, that is something that makes a difference. So forget about the timing that I'm gonna be giving it. Even I wanted to talk about Rust. Let's see if I get the chance of talking about this. Otherwise, I will spend time learning something or the other. So this is because Rust is not the primary goal. The thing is that one of my instructors, he just simply used Rust in one of the projects. So I had to just simply learn. I had to just have some idea regarding that. It's not my primary thing, so I'm not really gonna be worried about it. But okay, if anyway it's possible for me, I will be discussing the basic things about it. Alrighty, then that was it. Now I'm gonna be catching up soon. Until then, take care, bye bye, and see you.